Well done. I want to salute everybody. I want to celebrate everybody. These value propellers again, we are coming to you on the matter of the architecture of value. Just as we mentioned at the last episode, that the architecture of value is seeking to understand the mind of God and the will of God for living, such that we will know how God thinks, how his mind works, especially as regards the matter of value as it concerns the earth. Now I want to reiterate again, the matter of the architecture of value is seeking to understand the essence of value from the perspective of the providence, so as to help our presence in the earth. Seeking to understand the essence of value from the perspective of the providence in order to help our presence here. Now, the idea is this: the matter of value didn't start with goods and services, or how things suit us, or how it is rewarding to us, or how it's yielding to us in terms of profits and emoluments and gains. It is first about the framework of the earth, because that thing that is yielding value to you, that is yielding profit, that is bringing gain, that is, you see, if you don't look at it from the mind of the Creator, you see, you will treat it in a way that you can just use it, abandon it, trash it, abuse it, misuse it, and just discard when it seems useless to you. See, many of us, we just drink a bottle of water, then we finish drinking it. We just trash the can, the plastic container, we just throw it away. You see, if we see them beyond being a resource, and we see them as a value material that the Creator afforded us to engage, we will have a new perspective about it. There's a way we will consider it. There's a way we will engage it. There's a way we will treat it. Now, and this has to do with everything that we engage, that we see around, whether animate or inanimate. But this is what is being contested. And this is where it seems we are going to be having problem in future, even in the nearest future. Because the consciousness is shifting from knowing that this thing, which is a resource, came from a source, and that source needs regard, and it is the regard we give to that source that we translate into how we now treat the resources around us. This is a challenge men are having now, why, by which we now treat and abuse things around us, men around us, land, food, and the agricultural products. Well, some people, probably because they now know the chemical composition, they seem to know the framework, how the whole thing, from the laboratory to the table, from mixing some things, putting some things together, but they forget that both the knowledge to mix the things together and the thing that is being mixed together and the fellow that is mixing those things together, they are all framed by the source. And that's the idea we need to get, where we even know that standing where you are standing, what you are standing on, what you are engaging to do, what you are putting on your body, and what is making you to do what you are doing, and everything that culminates as the resource, affording you the possibility, the agility, the capacity to do what you are doing, they originated from a place. You see, the composition of everything that makes you you and is making you to become valuable or to even produce and become a beauty to behold, a resource that is producing and manufacturing and releasing possibilities, they are all called together value. And that's where we need to be afraid. If we lose this sense, we allow anything to erase this consciousness from us, we will be moving to a very edgy point. We will soon be on the edge. And that's why we are coming with this understanding so that everybody on earth can see value from the concept, from the mind of the one who made it first. Then, after considering the one who has made these things of value, then we now consider the personality that is important in the hierarchy of this value concept, which is man. Because there is nothing that anyone is doing that is going to serve beyond man. Man is the ground for every operation. Man is the ground for every activity, whether it is good or it is evil, whether it is great, beautiful, whatever adjective we want to use to qualify anything, it is because both the concept and the context of its operation and its generation is all about man. The concept and the context is about man. Everything on earth is happening through man, for man, and for man. ultimately. And that is the ground for everything about value that we engage. As goods, as services, as projects, anything that becomes value is originating from through man and to man. But understanding the background from where these things, maybe teaching this architecture of value is like teaching it from the back room to the front desk of life. Seeing value from the back room to the front desk of human activities. That's the idea. That's why we are engaging this architecture of value. From the back room, in fact, dark room. You know, what we see as camera today, as photographs today, they didn't come up. They evolved. If anybody, especially this generation, the millennial and the Gen Z, the Gen X, the Gen Z, as we know them, even though I don't subscribe to those concepts much of, as it were. But you see, camera, the use of camera and the manufacturing of photograph only evolved to what we know it to be now. But in those days, generating a photograph is actually a critical matter, a serious work on its own. Why I'm mentioning it is talking about the idea of the dark room, the back room, and then to the front desk. You see, in those days, when you want to, before a photograph is generated, there are lots of resources that goes into them. It involves many tasks. In those days, coupling cameras to set them up, to take picture is a work on its own. Then afterwards, producing the picture. In those days, there's what they call film. It is that film that captures that receives the light that comes. Then they now take that film, they take it into a dark room. It is in that dark room that the chemicals are mixed to now produce that picture. To produce the picture, to mix, and the thing must not be exposed to light, even though it is light that is used to capture the picture. But to actually generate it, there's something they call washing of the picture. So the thing goes into the dark room, then they process it there before they now bring it out to print. Before we now have what we have as your precious photograph. But today, production of pictures has evolved to a situation where you can even snap yourself and go and print it, and anybody will just print it for you. Maybe that's why we don't take things serious, because of the automation that seems to have made things very easy. But the truth is this: life is much more than what we see around. And one of the things that should teach us this truth is the process of planting. You see, the idea of incubation that goes into producing a hen might have been helped by technology, but the process has not changed. The process has not changed. That technology is helping anything has not changed the laid down rule of producing anything. And that's what we need to understand about the architecture of value. It has not that we have technology, that things are operated at fast pace, has not changed the truth about life. It has not changed the principle that operates life. The principle of sowing and reaping has not changed. The principle of light and darkness has not changed. The process could be faster, could have been enhanced and improved on, but the principles are still the same. You see, the principle of manufacturing or generating a photograph, the principle has not changed in that it has to be a combination of colors. Number one, it has to be produced combination of the operation of light and darkness is still the principle of generating anything photograph. The principle of life never changes. As we know this earth, the processes may be shortened and improved and enhanced, but the principle of life remains the same. You see, no matter the deception that comes, those who have tasted darkness and are now in light, or those who have left light and are going into darkness, they know this truth I'm telling you now. You know, there's a saying in my local language. There's an adage that says, a man, a woman who has not experienced two different kinds of husbands will not know the one that is better. Let me render it in my Yoruba language. Obìnrin tí ó bá dán lé ọkọ méjì wò kò ní mọ eléyìí tó dáa. It is when you have tasted darkness and you come into light, or you have come into light, you are now in darkness, that you will know that life principles are the same. So knowing the architecture of value is bringing understanding to all generation of men to show that the architecture of life, no matter how improved the process is, the principle is still the same. It will always start from the spiritual to the physical. To the physical. We must understand that one of the undergirding principles that operate the earth is that you cannot do anything against the truth but for the truth. If you try to undo the truth, no, it will always come back. I know for those who are older, in my those who are older, elders, and people probably, if we are careful to notice the way the head runs, and judging from the concepts of the statements of King Solomon, the wise man, is that there is nothing new under heaven. I said there's nothing new under heaven. And this to let us know, it is to teach us one truth. That since the time of fall, the earth has always been running in a particular cycle. It's a cycle. No matter anything that you think is new, it runs in cycle. It will end in the way it started. If it started in the spiritual, it will end in spiritual. And even currently, the world as it is going back to its original mood. The earth is going back to its original mood, where it started in the spirit and is going back into the spirit. Leave whatever you can touch, you can feel, you can access alone. It is going back to that mood. And I have things to talk about this to actually prove it, but we are not going there. We are not going there today. It's an engagement for another time. So the idea of understanding the essence of value from the perspective of the providence, that is God, to help our presence on earth, our presence, our being here, is the reason for studying this architecture of value. This is good for our understanding the frame of how things originate and how it's sourced from the place of immaterial to the realm of human. Now, we are continuing this matter of learning again to learn. We proceed away from the three stages or three frameworks of value. You know, the last time we talked about the spiritual side of value, to the natural value constituent, then to value derivatives. Value derivatives. We mentioned the fact that the spiritual side of value is about the principle, the eternal principle and pattern set by God. And we talked about the thing that transpired between him and how the things that we see on the earth took their shape, took effect. And then we talked about the earth natural constituents, which are the aftermath of those engagements that God did in the spirit. Then we now talk about the value derivatives, which are either the bodily expression of value or whatever expression we now know about value. Sorry, please. The various expressions of value that we know. Now, we continue. Now, we need to understand this. It's very important we understand this as we go into what I promised the last time, which we couldn't touch. We couldn't touch it. We are saying that there is a way we need to understand that that side, that framework that God set. About these three various components of value, in that it gives us an idea of the nature of both the creator and the creation. The creator and the creation. Why is it that everything that we see on earth, they are valuable? And the creator himself, God, that we know as the creator, he himself is valuable. Then there is something that connects the two together. The earth and everything in it, they are valuable. In the same way the creator is valuable. So we need to understand value and the nature of God. And to understand that, the inevitability, the invaluable nature of God, we will see it in the last verse of Genesis chapter 1, verse 31. It says, and God saw everything that he had made. Everything that he had made. You know, it started Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 says, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. So it's now ending here saying that, and God saw everything. Everything. The things in heaven, the firmament, the partitioning, the creation of the earth, and the creation of everything on earth, everything, and the creation of man. So actually, if you look at the concept of this creation, we will see that there are majorly principal factors that are determinants or that are critical to everything that God made altogether. Number one, God the creator. Number two, heaven, where God resides. Number 3, earth, which is the dwelling place of man. And number 4, man, for whom the earth is made. Now, we are considering value and the nature of the Creator. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the 6th day. Now, if we look at this particular scripture that we have read, we will see that there are some things that are critical for us to take note. God saw. God saw. You see, the idea of God seeing is a very critical matter to the way we look at everything in life. God saw. You see, if man ever has any sense or idea of putting grades and worth to every or anything on earth, it is because he's having the nature of the one who foresaw everything that he had made. God saw. He saw, and he brought a particular statement to what he is seeing. He brought a particular statement to what he's seeing, and the statement he brought to what he was seeing was a kind of judgmental comment to determine the frame. He expressed his perception of the status he can give to that thing that he's seeing, and the perception that he has of the thing that he made is that everything was good. And God was so truthful in his judgment that when things started progressing and he saw what he was not good, he was fair and just in himself to say he saw that it was not good for man to be alone. You see, the judgment of God is clear, unbiased about his own action. He was able to direct the judgment of goodness to himself and against himself as the need be. That's the fairness of God's judgment. They say it was very good. Now, the nature of God is here revealed in that he is good. And he is good because he is God, not just that he is God because he is good. No. It takes God to do good. That is why every other thing that we call God, they are not God on this earth. Because every imagination of God outside the God of heaven, the God of creation, the creation God, the one that created everything as we know them today, his perception is always good. And the goodness of his good is determined by his own frame of good, not by anybody's frame of good. It's not by experience. It's not by experience. Now, in the light of what we are studying, value, I want to bring an understanding about value from here. It shows us that the goodness of God make him to be both valuable and invaluable. You cannot quantify the value of God, yet he made God to be of value because we always need him for everything. And so if we look at these particular statements, that statement, and God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. We can also render it to say that, and God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was of value, and it is very valuable. If everything that we see as good are valuable to us on earth, and we're able to adjudge anything good to be of value, then it means if they are good and they are of God, then it means they are valuable. If they are good as resources to us, and we adjudge them to be of worth, of great value, and of good virtue, and of great importance to us, then it means they are of God. This is the implication of the spirituality of value. This is what it means to say that God himself is the definition of value, is the first definition of value. He is valuable and the one who gives value to everything. Because for someone to determine what is good and define how good is good, how good is good, then it means he must either have a definition, a standard of value, or he is the definition of good. It is either he has a definition of good, a specification that we say, this thing has met my own standard of good. You know, it takes a teacher to rate any work and say that, this work, this is good, this is very good, this is excellent. It is based on the judgment of the teacher. In the same way, if God says something is good, something is of value and is valuable, then it's either two things. It's either he has the definition, the specification, the standard he has set for anything to be good, or he is the definition of the good. And that is why everything rolls back and traces back to God. Everything rolls back. It traces back to God. whatever we see as value, whatever is the definition of value, whatever is the category of value we are dealing with, whether it's the spiritual side of value or the natural side of value, which are principally the major value constituent man, time, and things, or the value derivatives that we now have as a value system, value in terms of goods and services, or value in terms of immaterial nature of it, in terms of virtues and morality and ethics and ethos and order or worth, in any shade of value that we now talk about, everything rolls back to God. And that's why we now have challenges about standards of value. We fight about matters of value. We have issues, every issue that we have around us, in terms of morality, in terms of standard, in terms of specification, in terms of whatever we fight, we quarrel, we appreciate, is the definition of everything that we engage is now called value. So earth is synonymous to value. Synonymous to value. Synonymous to value. Until we know this, we cannot help seeing the perspective that we need to see, the right perspective we need to have about everything that we engage on earth or we are dealing with on earth. We will not make sense of them. We will not make sense of them. Now, very briefly, as we try to round up, we may not be able to do much, maybe we'll have to do architecture of value 2 in the next personal development program series. Maybe we'll now have to do architecture of value 2. Now, we need to understand that there is no way we can go far, especially as things are now. We can go far without injuring ourselves and destroying creation without taking note of this. Because this is what will keep us in check from abusing creation, from destroying creation, from injuring ourselves and in destroying others. If we understand this, we will be able to engage right. We'll be able to engage faithfully. We'll be able to engage consciously. We'll be able to engage conscientiously. We will not leave our conscience behind because we want to make ourselves valuable or we want things to appreciate for us. This is the essence why we are taking note of this. This is why this is coming to us. In order to help our consciousness in this age of pushy, everybody is a mad rush to make it. Everybody is a mad rush to get things. Everybody is a mad rush to make himself more valuable. You cannot make yourself valuable other than by knowing the framework that has been patterned out, that has been charted out. Because at the end of the day, you cannot do anything against the truth, but for the truth. If we will not increase our pains, if we will not increase our fears, if we will not increase our challenges, both personally and for everyone who is living on earth, it is better to live and abide by this truth, because it is the truth we will have to leave the earth with. You see, as every one of us is engaging the earth, we are making a statement around certain life truths. For example, we are making a statement of where we belong. Where we belong. We are giving value definition of where we belong. I'm saying you are either saying you belong to the path of light, or you belong to the path of darkness. You are making testimony and you are attesting to the truth that is already established in life. Number two, you are deciding which pole you are standing with. The pole of righteousness or the post of unrighteousness. You are declaring your judgment. You are declaring your judgment as well. Because every man that comes on earth will either leave this earth as righteous or unrighteous. So you are declaring where you are standing by your work, by the way you engage the earth, and the value components of the earth. You are declaring your judgments. As being righteous or unrighteous. You know the statement made about Abel. About Abel. You know, when he did what he did in Genesis chapter 4, there was no declaration about his work as per that time. But there was a judgment on what he did. But the Bible makes us later part of the Bible, there was this statement that was made about his person. And I read it. 1 John chapter 3. Every man is declaring judgment about his life and living. About his life and living. The statement that was made about the actions and the summary of the activity that Cain performed and the kind of relationship. You know, it was supposed to be activities that transpired between the two of them, himself and his brother Abel, Cain. They performed their religious activity. They performed their farming activity. They went together. They were engaging in their family, and they were having their family engagement as as two brothers. They went about discussing. They went too far. And then the other brother took his brother and killed him. There were activities, but each of those activities was making a statement. And the summary of the statement is this. He said, not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother. And wherefore he slew him? Because his own works were evil, and his brothers righteous. That's the statement about his activity. So by our activities on earth, we are declaring our judgment. I pray that we will have a right sense of value, and we will do what is right, and we will live right in order to show that we have right sense of value according to the order of heaven. Thank you. God bless you. Bye for now.